Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's grab our Bibles or our phones or our tablets, whatever is handy. If you're driving, ignore that. Keep your hands on the wheel and just know Jesus take the wheel this morning. You keep your hands on the wheel um, and just listen along. All right, picking back up in the 121st Psalm, and we'll be in the fifth verse today. And again, this whole psalm, the 121st, is a psalmist writing about being in some dark times, in some valleys in his life. And unfortunately, we all, on occasion, somewhere in life, will go through those dark, desperate times in our life. He's reminded us in the first two verses that the Lord helps us. Verse 2, my help comes from the Lord. And so that's always a good reminder when we're in one of those valleys. But not only is our helper, but he is our protection. He that keeps Israel doesn't slumber or sleep. And so that's always good to remember. And now we'll pick up today in verse 5, where he says it again, just a little bit different, but still on the idea again of the protection of God. As he says again, the Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. And one of the, this would have been really important to the original audience, who, again, when they traveled, didn't have the benefit of air conditioned cars. One of the things, depending on the time of the year, that they had to deal with was the sun. And so, this image for them of God being their shadow would have been very um, very real, very personal for them. Very easy to understand that God would be their shadow, their protection from the blistering sunlight that in the again the heat that came from that, and that he would be there not just as protection, but if you've ever been in that situation, as most of us I'm sure have, where you finally were able to get out of the hot sun into the shade. It's not just the idea of the protection, but it's also the comfort. It's just a relief to get that hot sun off your shoulders and your head, and get into that shade and just get a little break from that punishing heat. And so he's saying that along your journey, that the Lord will be our comfort. He will be our protection. And he says, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. And what he means by that is not that he's just shading the right hand, but he's saying he is within reach, that he's right there. But it's like saying something right, right here at my hand. It's right here. And so the Lord's help is near. It's not, far away. It's not distant, but that protection, that comfort was at his right hand. And the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. And I like that. One of the things that I think pops into your head is, well, what's so bad about the moon? Obviously the sun smiting us, but what about the moon? Well, what he's saying there, I think, is pretty obvious. He's saying no matter the situation, whether it's the sun beating down at night in the daytime, or whether it's the fear fears of the night and the dark. Whatever, he's covering the whole spectrum of life's troubles, that God will be there. And again, obviously, again, there's the dangers of the day and the sun, and the things that happen to you by being continuously exposed to a harsh sun. But then there's the dangers of night, whether it's the wild animals, in many places, where it's blistering hot when the sun's out. When the sun sets, it turns around and gets just ridiculously cold. Or just simply the huge swing in the temperature affects people. Or obviously we know that even today more crime occurs at night. The thieves and those that come out at night. There's just a lot of dangers in the night as well. And so the psalmist is saying, whatever it is, day or night, God is looking over us. He's protecting us, even in the valley of the shadow of death, even in those darkest times. And again, this area, the Middle East, the area of Israel, again, the original readers, recipients of this psalm, this would have been really clear to them because of the heat, but it was also very common in their poetry, in their literature, to use the idea of a burning hot sun as the idea, as a symbol of the difficulties of life. And what I want to point out to you this morning is that as followers of God, we have the struggles of the day. We have the struggles of the night. We still have those. We're not immune from those kinds of things. Many people think, well, we and the church, sometimes we're guilty of telling them, if you'll just get in church, everything will be all right. If you'll, no, that's not true. Christians have struggles and battles and valleys as well. What the psalmist is saying here is that God will not allow them to destroy us, that we will ultimately be victorious, that we'll go through those times with the wonderful presence of God, that God is at our right hand, as he said. He's always available, day and night, in the sun and the night, and so that we can walk through those valleys. We can walk through those trying times with God as our helper, God as our protector, our keeper, as he says in verse 5 here. And what a wonderful, again, consolation for God's people. Doesn't mean we won't have the battles of life. But what we do have is the encouragement, the comfort of knowing that we don't walk alone, that God is our protector, our keeper, both day and night, and he is as near as a cry. And so I hope that encourages you today, whatever valley you're walking through, to know that you have a protector, you have a keeper in God himself. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.